Yo, what's up, gang? Avery here. Before plans are finalized for the upcoming NWHL season, I welcomed onto the podcast Saroya Tinker, the Metropolitan Riveters, first round draft pick, and Yale hockey alum. We got into so much on her career, being a black woman in hockey, and her first year of playing pro. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Yo, what is up? Welcome back to Avery's Sports Show. And it is my pleasure to welcome onto my show my latest guest. Let me give her flowers. She played 4 years of hockey at Yale University. She's from the Metropolitan Riveters in the NWHL. She is a trailblazer for black women in the game of hockey, and also she was a badminton champion. I did not know that. That is very cool. You're a badminton champion as well. It is Saroya Tinker. Saroya, how you doing today? Welcome to the podcast.
How are you? Thank you for having me on today.
No, of course, it's a pleasure. I want to have you on for quite some time. And I guess, like most people in sport, you've been getting ready for a training camp and a preseason. So how have you been staying in shape and trying to keep your mind right for a season which, we assume it's going to start in January, but, there's still so much up in the air for any hockey really at the pro level right now?
Yeah, obviously it's tough in terms of COVID and not being able to be specifically there with the team and through all the training, but at the same time, we recognize that we are grown women and we know how to train and we know how to get our bodies in the right shape that we need to compete at that next level. So just taking my time training on and rehabilitating what I need to do in order to be ready.
And with your story in hockey, I would love to know, who was your biggest influence when it came to getting you involved in the game?
Yeah, I would say my dad was my biggest influence in getting me into the game. My dad grew up in Scarborough, just outside of Toronto, where he played. He didn't play competitively or anything like that, but he definitely had a love for the game and experienced a lot of racism in the sport. So he decided to put his children in it just to prove people wrong. And I've been playing ever since.
And of course, from that, you developed into a great right-handed shot defender, which in the game of hockey is highly coveted, of course. But I want to ask you, from that, I would love to know, when kids play hockey, they start as a defender and then you go to a goalie, they start in the wing and they switch. What did you start playing? Were you always a blue liner when you started playing hockey?
Yeah, so I've always been a defenseman. I was a pretty big kid, so they figured that defense was the right spot for me. But I think that with that, I still have the offensive skill where I do like to rush the puck and go end to end from time to time. But yeah, I would say I've always been a big, strong defenseman, and I've played forward in ball hockey and a few shifts here and there, but I'm definitely a naturally born defenseman.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I know I mentioned influences. Were they players you watched growing up?
To be honest, I look up to PK a lot. But as for women in the game, I think I've looked to Blake Bolden for her guidance as being a black woman in the game as well. But again, we've got Angela James, we've got Sarah Nurse, and myself and Kelsey Colder. So I think that there's been a huge lack of representation in black women in the sport, which has led us to not really have many people to look up to in terms of people that look like us. So in terms of modeling my game, I definitely like PK and his style, but at the same time, I recognize that I play the women's game and I can't throw those big hits and stuff, but definitely enjoy getting physical and playing with the boundaries a little bit.
Gotta say, you also have a great personality, just like PK. You mentioned, though, names like Blake Bolden, Kelsey Colzer, Angela James. What does it mean to have such strong unity among yourselves as black women in the game of hockey?
Yeah, we all have contact with each other. I think that we're more sisters than anything else at this point. We know that we can pick up the phone and call one another when needed, and we're here providing each other with resources, networking, and whatever we really need to be those badass black women in the game, for sure.
Of course, I also want to talk to you about your time at Yale. You played 4 years of college hockey, and what was that first day like coming to that campus? And of course, being a part of that program, because college hockey in America, no matter what program it is, be it a Yale, Harvard, Michigan, it's so competitive. And Yale's hockey programs, both men's and women's, are among some of the most prestigious in all of North American hockey.
Yeah, I would say my first time on campus, being alone, having my family drop me off and everything, is definitely incredibly intimidating. I think that my first year there, I didn't know whether I had a place or not at Yale, just because I just had self-doubt of whether or not I was just smart enough to be there and good enough to play. So I think that it was definitely intimidating, but also it's definitely surreal to be there on campus and to play with the Yale name on my jersey.
That's awesome. I know you mentioned you played all 4 years. What do you feel in your game improved the most going from your freshman year to your senior year at Yale?
To be honest, I was very frustrated my first 3 years. I felt like I hadn't improved. I felt like I hadn't played to the best of my abilities and was very upset with my play. But it wasn't really until my senior year where I felt like I fully came into my own and had a new coach that was really able to listen and get to know me on a personal level, which I think I really needed. And that allowed me to play better hockey. Ultimately, just because I think that I needed that outer support rather than that on-ice support. Just because I knew I was able to play at that level and play as one of the top defensemen in the league, and I think that I definitely had trouble doing that my first 3 years, but came into my own my senior year. Yeah, I mean, hockey's huge here in Canada, obviously, our national sport, and growing up, you always dream of wearing that leaf on your jersey, and it really didn't feel real to me until I was able to make that phone call after finding out that I'd made the team to my dad and letting him know that I'd made it, and, crying tears of joy, really, and then eventually being able to walk into that Team Canada locker room and see that jersey with my name on the back of it was just so amazing, just because I think that so many little Canadian kids always dream of that, and I got to fulfill that, which was definitely, I'm more than blessed to have that opportunity given to me. Yeah.
Of course, and from that, how cool would it be if, say, in a few months or a few years, you have young black girls in Canada say, I saw Saroya Tinker play for Canada. It's a dream that I know I can reach and I can achieve in hockey.
Yeah, I think that representation is huge. I think that that's been one of the main reasons why we don't see a lot of black women in the game, just because they don't have that person to look up to and that person to relate to and know that they're able to do that just as their white counterparts can. So again, it's so important that we continue to use our platforms and show them that they are welcome in the game and that hockey can be a space for them, even though it might not always look or seem like that. But we're hoping to be that generation that inspires those younger girls to play and continue the love for the game and really be a force in the hockey world in the upcoming years. No,
of course. We're seeing now in hockey, we're seeing black players in the men's game and women's game speaking up more and more over the past year and a year and a half. We saw the Hockey Diversity Alliance being formed with Akima Lou and Joel Ward, Wayne Simmons. What would it mean to be a part of that eventually, where you can bring in a women's arm to bring in yourself and say Sarah and other black players, other players of color?
Yeah, I think that'll be so important. I think that the men on the men's side, they're doing an amazing job as well.
Yes.
Obviously, we just saw Quentin Byfield be the highest drafted black player in the NHL, and he was scouted by Blake Bolton, which is so amazing to see.
Right.
So I think that as black and brown players, we're all coming together and supporting each other and finding a way to have our voice be heard in the rink, just because we realize that our opinions should be valued and we have a lot to say and we want to be included because we are just the same as our white players that we play against, and we just want to be accepted in the game and the community.
Yeah, of course, and it's important to show that the game isn't just for a single group of course, and it's big to show that the game isn't just for a single group of people. And I say it as, a black person who is in hockey media. It's important to show that the game's for black people, brown people, whoever, to expand the growth of the game.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I think that's so important. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. I think that if you love the game, you should be welcome in the sport and cheered on to the same extent that everybody else is. And so I think we're looking for that equal playing field, and we're looking to be more welcomed in the hockey community, just because it is hard to step into that white space every day.
Of course, now I mentioned, and now you're going into your first year as a pro with the Metropolitan Riveters in the NWHL, a league that's stable, a league that's lasted for a few years now. What is it like now, just say you're a pro player playing in the Premier League in North America?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. I think in my senior year, I never really pictured myself playing professionally just because I didn't really have the love of the game anymore. But now, given the opportunity, I think I've recognized that it's my job to be that person to represent other Black women in the game, and I think I'm definitely excited to play at that next level. And play against other women who work just as hard and who love the game just as much as me. So definitely excited to step into that atmosphere and see what the professional league is all about and see where I fit in and see where I stand.
And of course, the NWHL you're in, it's still growing. There's only 6 teams. But what would it mean to say, if not our generation, but the next generation, to have the NWHL get to a point where you've got 20 teams, 22 teams, or there's an NWHL team in every NHL city one day?
I think that's definitely the hope, and that's what we're hoping to see by gradually adding teams. You see, we just added the Toronto Six, and I think that it's going to be imperative that we continue to grow, just because we want to give ourselves the opportunity to be respected as professional athletes and professional women's players. Just because we don't make a living wage right now, and we would like to. I would love to see the girls that follow behind me be paid for what they're worth and their elite talent. So I definitely think it'll be important for the league to continue to grow and support their professional players.
I want to step away from the hockey question for a second. You have a picture of Lauryn Hill, a painting you did on your Instagram page. That's incredible, I gotta say, by the way. Where did your background in art come from? Because that is a wonderful paintings, right? That's beautiful.
Yeah, so actually, not a lot of people know that I paint. I keep that pretty personal and it's something that's close to my heart. But I decided to post as people had started asking me. But yeah, painting's one of those things that allows for me to dive into self-care and something that I enjoy doing outside of sports and outside of training. So I've always loved art, but had to kind of push it aside due to my athletic abilities and always focused on sports rather than my artwork. But at the same time, I think that my art can definitely allow me to help build my brand and something that I'm doing. So I plan on continuing to do that, and hopefully you guys will see more artwork coming your way.
That's awesome. It's pretty important to try and find some sort of balance between, of course, hockey, your other pursuits in your personal life as well, too.
Yeah, I think that there's so many more things outside of hockey, and like many sports campaigns say, it's like we're more than just athletes.
Yes.
So we have a voice, we have other talents, we have other passions. So I think it's important to express those.
That's awesome, Saroya. And actually, before I let you go, if you're interested, I would love to end on just some fun questions. With that Lauryn Hill painting, I would love to ask you, who are your 5 favorite artists in music?
So I listen to music quite often. I usually always have my headphones in, but I'm a huge Lauryn Hill fan, as you can tell from my painting.
Yes.
I would say, so Lauryn Hill, I love Georgia Smith as well. I'm kind of like a slow R&B kind of vibe. I like J. Cole.
All right.
Who else am I going to bring forth here? I'm a big Young Thug fan too, I won't lie. And then, who's going to be my 5th? I believe my 5th would be Alexis Eki. She is an up-and-coming artist in Toronto.
Okay.
She actually just did the Toronto Raptors, the North series. So I know they have t-shirts out, but I've always followed her on Instagram and loved her artwork, and I love to see the fact that she's growing. And she actually did a piece of me for one of our Sportsnet articles, and I love to see that. I was so happy to see that one of my favorite artists was able to make a painting or artwork that surrounded me and my talents. So I definitely love that. Again, her name's Alexis Eki. So
okay, I am gonna lie a little bit. I do have one last question for you after that one. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Oh gosh, my favorite movie of all time, honestly, is Pursuit of Happiness.
That's a great film. That's awesome. That's awesome. Awesome Will Smith's film. And hey, Saroya, thank you for doing the podcast. I appreciate it. And hopefully when things get better, I can come down south and see a Riveters game in person.
For sure. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Saroya.